Ever struggled with the short putt that goes left when you know that you should never miss it to the left, but you also knew you struck it with a face that was square? This is a short putt, but this is the one that's going to cripple the scorecard, not just on the green, but on the next tee as well. It's Andy Gorman-ThePASS, the putter and short game specialist, who's helping you today with this particular video in the importance of how we hole these short putts, which we know we should never miss. The problem that we've got is that we've all missed one, or more than one. But when we look down the line, we'll see a difference in how a golf ball comes off the putter if you strike it somewhat out of the heel. Because if you do, the heel is more likely to just close that club face a little bit more. Now, we may have a closed club face, we may have an open club face, but if we don't hit the sweet spot, we're not going to maintain the club face. If we hit the ball out the toe, we get less twist. And how do I know? Well, you tell me. How do I know? So there's something happening here, and I see it all the time. And, I get comments about, I don't want the eyes over the ball, okay? I do not want the eyes over the ball. And this is probably the best reason why not. Because if you hit it out the sweet spot because you're standing too close, you're not going to see much of a problem because you've hit the sweet spot. But if you're standing too close and you miss the sweet spot, if you're standing too close, you're going to miss the sweet spot in the heel. And if you hit it in the heel, that is going to close the club face. So the fastest fix is actually to stand a little further away or even hit it towards the toe. And if you do that, you'll see that the putter has got less twist taking place. Why? Well, because a putter's more stable towards the toe. How is that? It's going to be somewhat to do with the fact that the toe is rotating past the heel, if you think about it on a practical level. We've seen arc mats. You've seen me with mine. But ultimately, you've got putters that are opening in the backswing. They're squaring up somewhat and then closing in the forward swing. The toe is travelling faster. Now, we want the putter to be square at the point of impact, but we want to understand as well that the outer part of this swinging circle, the toe rather than the heel, is going to be travelling just that little bit more. Now, if we hit out the sweet spot, the heel is travelling slightly slower, and so the heel strike will close the club face. And as a consequence to that, we're likely to get the golf ball just that little bit more down the left-hand side to start. It's almost like I can't fail to miss if I hit it out the heel of the club. So I'm not having to hit it with a slightly closed club face because I can hit it with a square one. I can also hit it out the toe. And it doesn't twist because the toe is travelling slightly more quickly and rotationally than the heel strike. Now, this is going to get the conspiracy theorists going. It's going to get the, this is BS comments coming at us. But I tell you, if you've suffered with missing putts down the left-hand side as a right-handed golfer, then why wouldn't you give this a go? And if anybody wants to argue that this is not going to work, tell me that you've never missed a putt down the left-hand side if you're a right-handed golfer. If you've never missed a putt down the left-hand side, then I will stand firm and have a conversation with you, which will not be argumentative, but we've all missed putts down the left-hand side. I'm going to tell you now that when I was struggling with my putting at its worst, I was striking more putts out the heel than I ever was out the toe. And I can also tell you that as a competitive golfer in recent years, that if I ever miss a putt down the left, and I'm not saying these ones, but if ever I've got a breaking putt that might be coming from right to left, then I will not set up closer to the sweet spot. I will favour the toe. Now, I'm not talking about here. Right? I am favouring the toe. I line the ball up. I use a line on the ball to help me. I want to hit it in the direction of where I want to go. The reason for that now is it helps me to line the putter up. Brilliant. But also it tells me where the centre of the ball is, which means that I can set the sweet spot somewhat inside. Now, this would obviously be a little bit too much inside. It'd be a very profound toe strike. But now I can just move it 1/4 of an inch inside, hit it a little towards the toe, and not worry about the putter shutting down and missing down the left-hand side. So why wouldn't we? And it has nothing to do with the fact that I've got a centre shafted putter. In fact, you can use a heel shafted putter, a toe shafted putter, a face balanced putter, a zero torque putter, and you will find that the putter is much more stable if you miss it biased towards the toe than the heel. What might happen is that you soften the blow. We hear folk talk about you've got the little slippery downhill putt that's going to get away from you if you overhit it. I get that. If you hit it towards the toe, you soften the blow. That's also relevant. But generally speaking, if we just loosen the grip pressure, we're going to find that we can soften the blow and still strike the sweet spot. But trust me, if you soften the grip pressure, your sweet spot better be well struck. If it goes towards the heel at that point, it's diving well and truly left. This is probably something you want to do more on right to left breaking putts than left to right breaking putts. I'm just going to throw that one out there. But ultimately, you're not going to be seeing a huge amount of break from this distance anyway. Most breaks are going to be inside the hole. If you keep the grip pressure up and you strike slightly towards the toe, you're going to see much less twist than you ever are out of the heel. Andy Gorman-ThePASS, the putting and short game specialist, helping you hold more short putts going into 2026 and beyond, because we're actually going to help you to understand a lot more about the basic fundamentals and what happens to this and that golf ball relevant to your target, and we'll just give it a try. And I wish you all the very best going forward into 2026, but ultimately, give it a try. If you want any help, you've got any questions, or you want to make a comment, feel free to do so below. Ask me a question, I'll give you the answer in my best ability. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you real soon.